With us today on Island Focus, I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Mark Mugiishi, who is the CEO of HMSA. Aloha, Mark. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show.
To say that you are busy is an understatement. Please help us understand what HMSA is also experiencing, and as we reopen Hawaii incrementally, what are some of the considerations from the human side?
Clearly, we're a health organization, so the health of our members is our purpose for existing. During a pandemic, obviously, it's always important, but it becomes all the more emphasized during a pandemic. So we've been very interested in making sure that the health and well-being of our membership is well taken care of. The interesting thing, though, from the human side to understand is there are two components to that health issue. One is the immediate impacts of an infectious disease like the SARS-CoV-2 virus causing this pandemic. That's one thing, and we obviously don't want a lot of people to get infected and very sick and hospitalized from that. But there's also the health impacts of if we get impacted for too long a time as a community, as a society, economically, socially, and all these other ways, it actually impacts the public health of future generations. And during pandemics and other big economic calamities, it's the adolescents and the young adults who get impacted the worst, and it gives them a generation of bad health. And so we will create a Hawaii that's not good for our children over a long period of time if we're not careful on that end as well.
Can you speak a little bit more about that and what, not only the implications, but what might we do to mitigate that?
Yeah, so I think it's a big balance, right? It's understanding that to control the infectiousness of the virus today, we need to take good social responsibility by making sure we socially distance, making sure we stay at home when we're sick, proper hygiene, wear a mask, all of those things that we hear over and over again. We need to do all of those things. But we also need to make a concerted effort to do all those things so we can control the virus, so we can get back to some of the things that will make sure that our society kind of acts and behaves as it has in the past, where, we're able to go to school and, go to the park together and enjoy our beaches and things like that, which will be very, very important for the next generation and our own generation, actually.
Yes, and the way in which we carry out those tasks. There's some folks are resentful of having to wear masks, and there's fear generates anger. All of those emotions are hovering underneath the surface, and I'm sure they're felt by employers, employees, children.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a scary time. Let's just face it. I mean, no matter how you cut it, being in such a disruptive generational pandemic like this is scary. It's disruptive. And so it has affected the way people view the world. It has affected the way they control their emotions. We've seen a big uptick in behavioral health. So one interesting thing that we've seen is that because people struggled to get to the doctor during this pandemic, the amount of telehealth that is used has gone up 10, 20 times. So people get online to try and see providers. And the biggest uptick has been in behavioral health, where people are seeking assistance in mental health issues.
That's a good sign, though, because people.
It is a good sign that they're looking for it. It's not a good sign that it's happening.
Right.
It's a good sign that they're seeking help for it.
So if people are paying attention to themselves and their families and asking for help, how is HMSA responding besides the telehealth? What recommendations can you give the rest of us in the community to support that?
Yeah, so, HMSA, we have a lot of stakeholders, which has kind of positioned us in a unique position where we can reach out and try and help a lot of different segments. Obviously, we have our own members who they're the core of our mission. It's, to improve the health of Hawaii. So we need to pay attention to our members. We also have our providers who are the caretakers who are out there actually delivering care to our members. We have our employer groups, who are the businesses that are paying for this care. We have the government, that's our partners. We have the communities where everyone's living. And then we have our own employees, right? So we have, nearly 2,000 employees who are out there helping, but they have their own problems. And so we get kind of a firsthand account of the issues that the people are having by looking at our own employees. It's what am I going to do about coming back to work when my kids can't go to school and I have to watch them. How can I make sure when I come to work I'm safe and I'm properly distanced from my other employees? Things like that. So those are the kinds of the things that we are trying to help people work through as they try and get back to normalcy in their lives.
Well, in my experience with HMSA, and perhaps it can be part of your closing, the care that we give to each other and that concern and the sincerity of our aloha really makes a difference.
This pandemic, COVID-19, it's unprecedented. There's been nothing like it. To overcome something that has this much impact on our community, it has to involve the entire state, all of us coming together. And I think part of the reason why Hawaii has done so well compared to many other states across the rest of the United States is that we do have that spirit of ohana, that community spirit, that that ability to come together and care about ourselves, each other, our neighbors, our family. That spirit has helped us get through this. I know we still have work to do about making sure everybody wears a mask, everybody respects social distancing. But when you look at what we do here compared to some, what you see on social media is happening in other states like Florida and Southern California, we're pretty good. And so we can keep getting better, but I'm proud of the way Hawaii has responded.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time, and thank you for working with all of us and representing HMSA in such an honorable way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lila.
You've just had the opportunity to listen to my conversation with Dr. Mark Mugiishi, who's the CEO of HMSA. Mahalo.